Today I'm gonna show you the 8 tools that made my Warhammer army painting much faster. 3 of which you probably never thought about using for Warhammer. Many you probably already have at home. And honestly, these are the ones that saved me the most time. So buckle up, it's time to get your armies ready. Every single one of us have too many armies unpainted, especially you, Steve, and your mom. And one of the most common questions we do get is how do you finish your armies so fast? And how these people themselves can improve their painting. Thankfully, most of the things that I'm going to show you today are not based on skill. It's mostly about the tool you have and how you utilize it. Of course, it takes time to get really fast and master these, but even a beginner can use these tools to become a much faster army painter and decrease that massive backlog of yours. And then for every time you use them, you're gonna get even faster. So without further ado, let's hop on our first couple of tips. Number 1, spray can. We're not talking about the primer that gets your minis primed faster. No. Instead, what I want to talk about are colored spray primers. They are basically a cheat code to get your armies halfway done in a matter of minutes. One thing to do is just to spray coat your Space Marines in blue or in red, depending on which army you're doing. But next level is to do zenithal priming using colors. Meaning maybe starting with a dark green and highlighting with a brighter green from above. This can take even an airbrush hours to do on an entire army. With spray cans, it's literally minutes. For armies especially, spray cans is one of the fastest ways to get armies tabletop ready. Now you just gotta paint some trims, add some special effects to the weapons, paint the leather, and you got an army tabletop ready. Number 2, wet palette. This might be one of our most basic recommendations, but I still see a lot of people out there painting without a wet palette. But hear me out here, when you're painting an army and painting over a longer session, if you use a regular palette or paint directly from the pot, your paints are gonna dry a lot faster and you have to refill that constantly. And no, you don't have to buy the fancy Squidmar or Redgrass Games wet palettes. You can make one with stuff you have at home for next to nothing. A Tupperware box, a sponge, and baking paper. It's one of those things that speeds up painting, but costs you next to nothing. And then, when you feel ready to give yourself some fancy stuff, you buy our wet palette. Hopefully out when this video is live. Number 3, airbrush. Any airbrush is better than no airbrush. Again, when we're talking about army painting, I don't think there's any tool that when you're by your painting desk is gonna save you more time than the airbrush. We personally use Harder and Stenbeck and we've had our collaboration airbrush with them, but it is definitely not a must. An airbrush from Wish will help you way enough to spray highlights or shadows on your miniature or do grand shading on, say, a tank. And without an airbrush, I don't think our 24-hour marathons would even be possible. They let us push base colors, inks, shading and highlighting so fast that sometimes we can even paint a 2,000 point army in less than a day. In my opinion, an airbrush is not a luxury tool anymore, it is a vital tool if you want to get your armies painted faster and still do it to a high level. But as I said, getting a Wish airbrush is better than no airbrush. The fancy ones you get when you realize how nice it is if you've tried the cheap one already. Number 4. Speed paints, contrast, and inks. These are a game changer when it comes to batch painting. The classic way of painting with contrast paints on a white undercoat is fine, but imagine this. If you've already used spray cans to create a nice base coat on your minis, or an airbrush to create all the base coats. All you need to paint the leather serviceable is to add a coat of a really dark brown ink or contrast paint or speed paint. And boom, you have a decent looking leather on your miniature. The same goes for fur or teeth or horns. It makes them look almost painted but to like a lower standard. So then when you have more time, you can go in and highlight those things. They are goated fast. And combining speed paints, contrast and inks with an airbrush is even more goated. You can add extra tones to your miniatures, like making the skin look rosy or adding reds to your orc's green skin. You can sanitily paint using a brighter tone from above and a darker one from below and get super saturated squigs. But before we talk more about the things that you have at home but you haven't started using by your painting desk yet to speed up your army painting, a quick word from this week's sponsor, Into the AM. So about 4 years ago, we got reached out from a company called Into the AM. And it has been truly a blessing for 2 reasons. Number 1, we get t-shirts sent to us like every other month, and these are some of the best looking t-shirts on the internet. I kid you not, I am so happy with them. Me being a tall guy, I'm 6'5" or 195, and pretty much whenever I buy a t-shirt in a local store, after like 2 washes, they show my belly and I freaking hate it. I've never had that issue with Into the AM. And secondly, the shirts that they do are actually really good looking. My personal favorites are these ones with a small print in the front and a big one in the back, and this specific one was released just 3 weeks ago. It's the 3rd Squidmar collaboration with Into the AM, so you have the awesome squid design on the back, which I think is just lovely, and you should definitely go get one yourself because it's awesome. And the cool thing with Into the AM is it's not just t-shirts, they also have nice looking sweaters, jackets and stuff that Lucas and I love wearing. Like, it is clothing that we actually appreciate. And the second thing that I wanted to say that is awesome is that we actually get paid to use their stuff, which is like double awesome. And it just truly feels like I'm so happy that we actually get to work with companies that we ourselves really like. And that is so nice. And if you want to help us continue doing this, you should follow the link down in the video description, because when you do, you get 10% off your entire purchase, which makes it good for you as well. And also because we want to continue making these videos, and if we have a sponsor that is happy and you guys are happy with the products as well, it's a freaking win-win. And even better yet, right now they are running Black Friday sales, which means that between November 28th and December 9th, there will be up to 60% off shirts and apparel and all that kind of jazz. And it's high quality for a reasonable price. So now, I guess it's back to showing you 8 tools that is gonna fuck up your life. If you haven't tried any one of these types of colors, I recommend you grab a couple, try them out, especially through the airbrush, or buy the super dark ones to use with your regular brush, and you're gonna save a ton of time. And again, most importantly, get armies ready for playing much faster. And then when you've tried it, you complement and you buy all of them. And this is just the ones we have from one brand. Number 5, electric hobby drill. Pinning and drilling and cutting things off your miniatures is one of those things that you think is gonna take a lot of time. But dudes, with the right tool, one of these electric hand drills, shit's gonna go down fast. Even if I love these fancy battery-driven hand drills, you can get these super cheap ones. I think we paid, is it 20 bucks for this one at a dollar store? And you got like a bunch of different vise and cutting tools for it. And it saves so much time. You have no idea how much faster it becomes to pin your minis to the bases, magnetize parts on your army, or heck, if you like converting, like kit bashing, this stuff is so good. So if you're one of those that wants a unique army but don't feel like you have time, check one of these out. Number 6, blow dryer. Okay, here comes one of the most unexpected ones. Freaking hair blower. A blow dryer is god tier when it comes to speed painting. When you're batch painting and constantly waiting for your miniatures to dry, stuff takes a lot longer than it should, especially if you're painted like a big miniature, you've added like a bit thicker coat of paint on there and you're waiting for it to dry now. With a dryer, you can dry it in seconds. And we use these constantly in our 24-hour marathons. Like, you're probably gonna see us use it every 5 minutes when we're painting during these super stressful sessions. Once you've added one to your painting desk, you are never gonna look back. Trust me. Number 7, hot wire foam cutter. Another weird one that might feel like a luxury tool is the hot wire foam cutter. Because we always love making cool bases for our miniatures, but a lot of times it ends up taking ages to finish them. With a hot wire foam cutter and some XPS foam, you can make hills for your bases, you can make different levels for the terrain on your base, and a bonus tip, you can actually use it to cut plastic terrain pieces that are a little bit thinner with the help of the hot wire foam cutter. Maybe don't breathe in the melted plastic. We've got one of these fancy hot wire foam cutters from Persson. We also got these battery-driven ones from Ryobi, but pretty much any one of them works. We've previously tried and used one of these from AliExpress for 15 bucks, worked perfectly fine. We also have one from the local dollar stores that cost about 20 bucks, worked just as fine. It's just that these are battery driven and perfect for us when we work on bigger dioramas. But even for armies, just look at Lucas' Black Templars. His army basing just was so much faster thanks to this. Number 8, sponges. And the last one is the humble sponge. This one we use for getting textures on things like vehicles, armors, rocks, temples, heck, you can even use it for skin. Nothing beats a sponge when it comes to speed. Maybe not precision, but if you want to get your armies ready faster, a sponge is awesome. We mostly use these sponges from packaging materials, but you can also get these fancy makeup sponges that might be even better for some uses. I also have them on one of these sponge bros that I got from Mamicon, and it's really easy to use and it speeds up painting a lot. Simple, cheap, and incredibly effective. And a bonus tip, if you have a good hobby clipper, building your minis is also going to be a lot faster, but I don't think it deserves its own category. But it is incredibly nice not having to spend a ton of time cleaning up my plastic bits once I've cut them from the sprue. With that said, I hope you learned something from the video. If you did, please have a look and see if you are subscribed. Because every time when we release a video, we get at least one comment of someone saying, I thought I was subscribed, but for some reason it says I'm not. So if you just want to do us a favor, check if you are, and if you're not, press the subscribe button. Massive thanks to this week's sponsor, Into the AM. And of course to all our lovely patrons. If you want to learn more about painting from us, over on our Patreon we have a $20 critique every month where we give people feedback on their painting to help them improve. And if you want to learn faster, we publish our Squidly Bits videos, the classic painting tutorials, over on our Patreon a whole week in advance. So it's a good way to help the channel but also get a little bit more content faster. With that said, peace out!